On to the next knife. This is my Khukuri. The Khukuri I got from Khukuri House Handicraft Industries, KHHI, Nepal. And after extended use, notice that this edge is actually extremely tough. Even though it's made of a very soft steel, it's only made from a truck spring, a leaf spring. This actually has incredible edge retention. I've chopped down, I think, 3 trees with this, just with this alone. No saws, no axes, just with this. And I've noticed that because this has the blade of a knife, you can get it so much sharper than an axe, but it does the work of an axe. So every swing goes in farther, it bites more, it takes out more wood. It's incredibly useful. So I've chopped down an aspen tree in my front yard. It's like at least that big around with just this in like 10 minutes. It's incredible how much this bites. When you try to use 2 hands with this point here can end up like jabbing into your pinky, and that really can be painful at times. Also, this edge isn't very comfortable if you try to choke up on it. But overall, with the intense hard hits that I've been giving this thing, the rosewood handle with just these 3 studs rivets has held up incredibly well. There's no cracking, there's no seams showing. The blade tang right here is still completely flush with the wood. It's amazing. Another great thing about this blade is that you can really get it down to a really sharp edge, like a razor edge. I hand carved this edge. I put a new edge on it, and it's just incredibly sharp. But it handles like an axe, but it's like a razor blade. I don't know if you can see very well, but right here there's these dings in the blade, and that is not because of poor edge retention. That's because of user error, so don't misread that. I was chopping wood, and my chopping block broke. It split in half. It was just, I didn't have anything else to chop with. I tried a wooden board, things like that. It doesn't work. It bounces around. So I was using a cement block. It was on the edge of the foundation of my house. I was trying to use this cement just as a sturdy chopping block to try to get the blade a little farther in. And what happened was the blade suddenly split the entire piece of wood and just smashed into the cement. So think of a full swing with 4 pounds of steel behind a hand-carved edge smashing into cement, and that's all the damage it does. Just that little curl over of the edge can be fixed by a cheap $10 sharpening stone. It's like, this has amazing edge retention. If you get one of these, don't misuse it like I did. That was a bad idea, using a cement, but I was desperate. I love this Khukuri. I love how thick it is. It's so durable. Like, I seriously don't think I could break this if I tried. Like, even if I had explosives, and there's no way I could break this. These things can stop a bullet easy. It's amazing. This was $120. I paid $200 for it just because I got all the bells and whistles, like the Nepalese coins and things like that, and the stand. But shipping was very expensive. Every knife I'm reviewing here, I've used extensively. I do not own any knives that I don't use. If you want to see how a knife will stand up to hard use, then that's what these reviews are for, or at least mine. So yeah, that is the 15-inch Victor Khukuri Seek and Destroy. Here's a ruler. You can see that's just at like 12 there, so just 3 more inches. It's pretty much exactly 15. So yeah. This sheath is buffalo leather and wood. I am not a huge fan of the sheath just because this belt loop does not work as a belt loop. It's just, you can't put it on your belt. It's way too heavy, and it like slaps against your leg and things like that. It's just not functional. And also this cap here, I mentioned in the last review that it was sharp and it was like puncturing through my equipment. Well, I took it on the last backpacking trip I took it on. I had that nut that I had put on the end of that so it wouldn't puncture through. What happened was, through the like rubbing and like dropping my pack, things like that, this cap actually jolted off, and it just fell off. All that was holding it on was glue. So luckily it stayed in the pouch in my backpack. It didn't fall out in the forest, but yeah, it's just another sign of, I don't know, kind of a shortcut they might have taken in quality. So that's not very pleasing, but honestly I don't really care. You can just glue this right back on. Alright, so on to the last knife for this review. This is the Gerber Gator Machete 18-inch blade with a saw back. I absolutely love this. I may not have said too nice of things about it in my last review of it, but after incredibly extensive use, I have found this to be amazingly useful. This is not a full tang. You can actually, like I've done this many times, you can just take a hex wrench, take these 2 bolts out, and just take the machete out. There's just a little piece of metal that stops it right there. So it's not a full tang. That was disconcerting to me, but these bolts hold it very well. And also, since you can take it out and like tighten it up so easily, you can eliminate any blade play whenever you want. So I like that a lot better, at least on a machete. This is a very thin blade, but frankly that's a good thing for a machete because it's so light, so you can swing it very fast. It's very flexible. It doesn't snap or break. Definitely don't use it as a pry bar like I did with my Seal or Khukuri because it's so flimsy. The edge here has a very sharp, acute angle, so it's not a tough edge, but it's extremely sharp. And it's very, since the steel is so soft, like just a couple strokes, like literally 10 seconds with a sharpening stone, you can get it back to a razor edge after hard use. Frankly, I'd rather have that than something like a VG10 that takes like, 10 hours to sharpen back up, whereas with this, it's like, yeah, it doesn't have great edge retention, but when you do need a new edge on it, it's extremely easy. Up here, I think you can see there's some nicks in the blade, but I found that doesn't hinder the functionality of the machete at all. A lot of friends, like when they try to handle this machete, they swing it like a baseball bat. They can't figure out how a machete is meant to be used. Like if you think about it, yeah, well, it's easy, you just swing it, but it comes down to so much more than that. When you have a knife like this, it's just like basically a shard for like cutting things and whittling because it's so short. But when you have an 18-inch blade like this, you're bringing physics into the picture, and that's why the blade is wider and heavier up here, so that you can get a lot of centrifugal force. And the way to swing a machete is all in the wrist. You need a lot of centrifugal force like that. And I found that the longer I use it, the better I get at using a machete. With this edge, like if you hit a branch like right on the edge up here, then you can lop through branches like that big around in one strike if you go hard enough. And it's amazing what this thing can do, and it's so cheap. It's $30. I've seen it go down to like $22. It's amazing how cheap this is, but it's so functional. I put this through a lot of hard use, and it's done so well. I'm very impressed with Gerber. I didn't like them at first because of the reputation, but frankly this is, like, after actually using their products and not just looking at their stats on paper, they've gone above and beyond all expectations. With both this knife right here, indestructible tank of a knife, and this machete. Both of these are 2 of my favorite products of any blades that I have, and they're both made by Gerber. So they've earned their respect with me. And the saw back, these teeth are staggered like very significantly, so it cuts out a lot of wood, but it's very effective. I cut through probably 400 logs with this. I did a lot of work with wood chopping and building a wood pile with this. And it's incredibly useful. It just gets through wood like crazy. It's both push forward and pull back motion that cuts. So it's great for whichever way you want to use it. All the teeth are still razor sharp after all that use. Yeah, like a bit of the coating is rubbed off, but I don't care. Like it's just a little bit on the tips of the teeth. But all of them are still razor sharp. None of the teeth have bent or been broken. It's a great product for $30. I've spent hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars on blades, and honestly nothing has compared to these two $30 products. You can look at all the stats on paper and say Gerber is, Walmart level crap, but if you actually use their products in the field, I'm very confident that you will be just as impressed as I have been. The only thing I don't like about this is that the sheath is so flimsy. The plastic insert right here, I don't know if you can see it very well, but it actually tore up. Some of my friends, when they're putting this in, they rubbed it against the back, and the teeth just grabbed it and pulled it up. So, I mean, it's not super durable in that sense. They could have fixed that by just making this insert wrap around here, so you could just rub it against it and it wouldn't do anything. But yeah, it's not a huge deal. You just keep the saw off the back here and it works. So yeah, this has been the review update of 4 of my blades. This has been Ice. Thank you very much for listening.